I know you talked about the plants and the aloes and what they teach you, but one of the things you mentioned too was the energetics and the
Yes.
taste.
Yes.
Can you? I was curious about what that.
Expand on that a bit.
Yeah. Like if you understand energetics,
Yeah.
and the taste, then
you can match the plants to your specific thing. So a lot of times I get asked, "Oh, I have XYZ health condition. What should I take for that?" And I always say, actually, you tell me who you are, and we will find the plants that match you as a person. So it's not about addressing symptoms. It's about bringing the body into a more stable state, balanced state. Now, balance, you never achieve true balance. We're always swaying around a continuum. But I always give my own example when I teach my herbal classes when we talk about energetics, temperature and moisture modality. So are you a hot, cold person? Are you a dry, damp person? And many people can't answer that at all. And I say, well...
How would I figure out if you were to ask me?
Yeah, so I sort of use myself as an example and I say, well, I'm a cold, damp person. How do I know that? Well, I hog the radiator. So in the winter, I'm the one that sat on the fire, blocking the heat from everybody else. If I go somewhere and there is a window open, I will notice it immediately. The drafts drive me bonkers. Like, I feel cold, even if we can be on a hot summer's day and there'll be a wee breeze blowing. And most people are like, oh, thank goodness for that breeze. And I'm like, oh, I wish it would just go away. It's making me feel cold. So I'm very prone to the cold. Always got cold feet. So my movement around my body, my lymph and my circulation is sluggish, which is often a sign of dampness. So, and the whole...
So I'm, as you're listening, sorry, I'm curious too, because I sometimes get cold feet.
Yeah.
But my body's generally warm.
Yes.
So
yeah, there's nuance always.
Yeah.
So I present people with a questionnaire, and it's about what their tongue is like and what their leanings are with various different body conditions. And from that questionnaire, people can see whether they lean more towards cold conditions or whether they lean more towards hot. And obviously, as we move through life, that can change. So women coming through menopause, for example, will often switch from a cold person to a much more heated body system. So that's more inflammation. That inflammation is a sign of heat.
I'm just...
Yeah,
I sleep in a really cold room. I like a really cold room.
Very good, yeah.
So is that because I'm generally, what is it?
A warm person.
A warm person?
It could be, but then I'm a cold person and I prefer a cold bedroom because the central heating makes us all so stuffy.
Yeah. There's something nice about lying under the blanket,
get your heat
cozy and warm, but the room really cold and the window even open.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be me too, even though I suffer from the cold.
Yeah.
Because that's to do with fresh air,
okay.
actually. So as a result of the questionnaire, people can see where they sit with temperature and with moisture. And then from there, you can identify much more easily the plants that you would use. And I use ginger as an example because people can often relate to it. Not that ginger obviously doesn't grow here, and so I wouldn't be out foraging for it, but people will often have it in their kitchen. And so one of the remedies that people suggest for nausea is ginger. Oh, you're feeling sicky, have ginger, particularly around sort of morning sickness. There's this funny stories about pregnant women eating ginger nut biscuits, But actually, if you're a really hot person, ginger can make that nausea worse because ginger is a very, very heating herb. So it wouldn't necessarily be your remedy. Mm-hmm. And that's why I don't tend to suggest particular plants for particular conditions. because it doesn't always work out that way. So the plants have the same modalities as people do. So we have a scale, a continuum of heat, cold, damp, dry, and so do the herbs. So thyme, for example, we have a gorgeous native wild thyme, and that's very warming. It's a very warming plant. So those cold, damp days, putting thyme in your stew or thyme tea is very beneficial. When you've got a cold and you're cold and damp, putting thyme in a bowl of hot water with your head over the bowl and a towel over your head is very relieving. Tones up those mucus tissues and soothes your respiratory system, but warms you through. So that's more the way that I would work with the herbs, and then finding the ones out that we actually have in nature. So as far as possible, I try and use native plants in my medicine chest. I do supplement with some global things, but I try not to as much as possible.
So it's like stay kind of close to home, look for the plants close to home. And how does someone actually start? I know you mentioned earlier, go and look for 2 plants that but like...
Yeah, that's the best place to start.
Yeah, and what do you do with them? Like, or how do you even know where to start? Like...
Well...
And for what purpose?
Yeah, I always think it's worth starting with nutrition, actually. So that's why I point people in the direction of dandelions and nettles.
So what would a dandelion give me?
Well, dandelion for a start, it's got yellow flower. So we have the doctrine of signatures would be an ancient way of trying to determine in what ways a plant will benefit a person. And yellow is very liver bile.
So
system.
Yellow in any plant, is that what you're saying? Or just the dandelion?
Well, you have to know your plants, so you wouldn't want to be eating anything toxic, for example. But say dandelion, take the dandelions, yellow flower. It's also, when you taste the leaf, it's very bitter. So bitters enliven our digestive system. And actually, these days, bitter is hugely missing from the Western diet. We've sweetened everything. So our vegetables that we eat have been bred to be sweeter and sweeter. And our wild plant intake has gone, which is where we would have got a lot of bitters from. So green leaves in the wild tend generally to be bitters. The bitter taste, we have bitter taste receptors throughout our entire body. And the bitter taste really fires up the digestive system. And when your digestive system is working really well, you're extracting the nutrients from the food far more thoroughly. So you're getting the nutrition that you need. And we just don't eat bitters. I mean, the nearest people come to bitters is coffee. And then what do they do with that? They put sugar and milk in it, which eliminates the bitter. So I encourage people that way to take the bitters because it will improve their general health function. And I think that's really important. And there's no shortage of dandelions. Of course, we have to learn to forage ethically. That's hugely important to me. And our indigenous communities around the world have so much to teach us that we've lost in that respect. When we look at the biodiversity crisis, for example, the world over, biodiversity is crashed. It's a significant problem that is going to cause and is causing us huge problems, as well as obviously being catastrophic for all the other living beings. But the pockets around the world where biodiversity is still thriving are areas where indigenous people are managing the landscape. So they have a lot to teach us about how we use plants, how we don't just take and take and take. Oh, that's good for me, I'm going to have it. That's not the right way to approach it. You need to develop a relationship with the landscape.
I've met indigenous people from the Amazon, and they're all about, like, it's not like it's a take. Yes, they take from the landscape, they take the plants, but they're very, very appreciative. Like, they talk to them.
Yes.
They give thanks back.
Yes.
You know, there's this real appreciation.
100%.
And they're still living in the
in those pockets.
Yeah.
Gratitude is so important. Gratitude and sharing. So you know, firstly, yes, you're appreciative and you're thankful and you're respectful, and then actually you have to ask permission, and that's something that we just don't do in our culture, and it's a real shame. And when I first suggest that to people, you know, sometimes people are a bit like, "Ooh, what? I have to talk to the plants," and it doesn't have to be woo woo. You know, it doesn't have to be sort of way out of our comfort zone. There's ways of asking that don't involve going up to the hawthorn and saying, "Hello, little hawthorn berry, could I pick you, please?" You know, you don't have to be. I mean, I do that, but you don't have to start there. You can just look at the hedgerow and see the abundance and say, "Okay, I'm getting a message that there's actually plenty of berries. It's probably okay for me to take some." And then you listen. And actually, when you pick the berries, if you're picking them correctly, the haws, some come away really, really easily in your hand. You put those in your basket. And others, it's like, okay, that's a no then. I'll leave you. And you move on to the next one.